So Ren came out with another, I guess, live rendition of one of his songs. So I'm skipping ahead here just because I technically haven't heard Ren's original of his cover of the Verve's Bitter Sweet Symphony. I'm not a huge fan of that song, actually, the original. So I kind of haven't like wanted necessarily to listen to it. But these live renditions, I like what he's done with them. I like how he's kind of changed it up a little bit. And honestly, I think they've been more emotional, his live renditions of all of his songs that he's done and any other song. So but I'm excited. I mean, look, new old Ren is still new Ren, so I'm going to be happy about it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get into it. I do want to remind you all, I do have a Patreon. I'm super excited to announce that I do have my deep dive of high Ren on my Patreon. The link will be in the description below. I talk about chord progressions, chord structures, how each note leads to the next chord. I talk about the song structure as a whole. And I actually go through and try to play the entire intro of high Ren at the end. So it's a long video, but it's an amazing experience to go through that and kind of discuss the music and his approach to the song. It was really incredible and really a learning experience for me. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. But that is on my Patreon right now for your viewing pleasure. So, all right, now that that's out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's get into it. Ren Bitter Sweet Symphony live. Got live strings and everything.
I've got dirt on my Reeboks from staying up all night. I spent my last £10 on this pack of Marlboro Lights. I phoned up Stevie, I said, G, you alright? He said, it's 6 in the morning, brother, get some shut-eye. I feel a sense of well-being this time in the morning. Wear my heart out of my hoodie while the city is snoring. Drunks falling off the sidewalks get issued a warning. Distant sirens, they crescendo like a symphony calling. This is the Britain I know, this is the Britain I love. There's poetry inside the city if you listen enough. Working class casualties out on the street sleep rough, while a mother with her baby takes a pram to the pub.
I want to talk about, like, it seems simple enough, right, that they're in this kind of rural area, just in their grass randomly, but I think it's actually, like I say in all of his videos, it's purposeful, right? It kind of gives it this homey sense, right? We got people playing football in the back, right? We got people riding their bikes, walking, people living their lives, and we have these musicians here kind of recording a video, right? It's really kind of a cool visual of kind of what happens in real life, where we have people just so zoned in on what they're doing that really, like, something like this can happen and nobody would really care. But also flip that on this other side, it kind of shows how, like, homey some of these areas could be, right? They're embracing this, they're letting them be in the video and all that stuff. The last thing I want to say is this live strings sound amazing, man. I'm one of those people that really likes the sound of strings. I think it adds a lot of, like, dramatic effect and emotion to a lot of songs. So a lot of people don't like when, like, you know, heavy rock bands, for instance, add strings to their songs. I'm not one of them. I really like the sound of strings, especially when they're live like this. Okay, let's go back.
He is snoring, drunks falling off the sidewalks get issued a warning. Distant sirens, they crescendo like a symphony calling. This is the Britain I know, this is the Britain I love. There's poetry inside the city if you listen enough. Working class casualties out on the street sleep rough, while a mother with her baby takes a pram to the pub. And while she's knocking them down, the cost of living goes up. I can't relate to politicians with their head in the mud. I resonate with messy Fridays with my boy smoking bud. We do our bit to numb the struggle, as below so above, as above so below. Here in the city we glow. I blow a smoke ring up to heaven and it makes a halo. And then the clock strikes 7, guess it's time to head home. My companion is the city, so I'm never alone. Stepping in and out of gaps of the pavement cracks. If I go to sleep now, that's an anticlimax. People rise for work and the sun mirrors that. A perfect juxtaposition for those out on the lash. Bear with me, it's beautiful, I think it's irrefutable.
Nice.
There's beauty in the contradicting Britain, indisputable. John,
I like that little stop there. Not sure if it's in the original, but adds a nice little touch to it. I'll go through the lyrics at the end because, like I said, I haven't heard his rendition of this yet. There's a lot of kind of talking about society and you know, the economy and politics and all that stuff that he's mentioning here, just for the everyday people, right? Like myself, like most of you watching, and kind of the struggles that we go through and yet still have positivity. So I want to go through them after this line by line and talk about it.
Alone, stepping in and out of gaps of the pavement cracks. If I go to sleep now, that's an anticlimax. People rise for work under sun mirrors that. A perfect juxtaposition for those out on the lash. Bear with me, it's beautiful, I think it's irrefutable. There's beauty in the contradicting Britain, indisputable. Junkie in the cubicle, his old spoon is usable. His mother's in a black suit, crying at a funeral. 9 to 5 crucible, this route is not commutable. A kid falls off the tracks, then he serves a stretch at juvenile. Libby's at the Dolies, but her disposition's humorful. While Davy's at the bookies and his mates call him delusional Britain. Drink it down and moan about the weather when the sun starts shining. Feel the factor 10 tremor. Boys will be in it together till the fists start flying like the Conor McGregor, and then he's out. I think he took it too far. I think the boy saw red. I think he hit him too hard. Now he's face down on the pavement with a face full of tar. Mad how small altercations can define who we are. That's my cue. I guess it's time.
I really like the staccato. So for those non-musicians, staccato is kind of the sound on more so strings, but any instrument can really do it. I just like that sound that they added there. Again, we're getting kind of intensity in dynamics here, right? We're having them playing loud, we're having them playing soft, and we're adding the staccato stuff. Really cool.
We boys will be in it together till the fists start flying like the Conor McGregor, and then he's out. I think he took it too far. I think the boy saw red. I think he hit him too hard. Now he's face down on the pavement with a face full of tar. Mad how small altercations can define who we are. That's my cue. I guess it's time to head home. Bittersweet how my high found its way to below. And I've said it once before, as above so below. Living on the streets of Britain, you just go with the flow.
Hold on, that was a bar. Hold on. I gotta hear that again.
Bittersweet how my high found its way to below.
How my high found its way to below. For me, right, at some point in my life, especially college, where you guys know that was my lowest of lows. Getting drunk was fun. We were, hyper, smiles, laughs. At some point, when I became super depressed, that high from the alcohol, I mean, it's a downer, but you get what I'm saying. I became emotional, upset, and angry when I got drunk. So since then, I've kind of tried to stay away from drinking because I'm not a fun dude when I drink now. I'm just depressing in general. I resonate with that for sure, and that's a bar, right? Our highs become our lows after a while because we almost start feeling normal in those highs, and it becomes depressing for that realization, coming out of it, but going into it, right? You know that if you're sad one time, sometimes when you're high or drunk, that becomes a norm and it sucks. But he said something else here, so I want to go through that too.
I guess it's time to head home. Bittersweet how my high found its way to below. And I've said it once before, as above so below. Living on the
I've said it once before, eyes above, sober low. So below, but sober low. Yeah, man, I think a lot of people have trouble, especially with addiction and even depression, man, which I feel can actually be its own addiction in a sense of when we are sober, because we don't have that, even if it's temporary, that escape from how we feel, that escape from feeling like the world is ending, that escape from feeling like everything is bad. When we're sober, we're at our lowest of lows, right? It's kind of that withdrawal thing or getting used to not having that escape that makes us feel extremely low. So I like that double entendre there. So below, sober low, because he said eyes high, so below, but sober low. I really like that. That was a bar right there.
streets of Britain, you just go with the flow. Before, as above, so below. Living on the streets of Britain, you just go with the flow. But I'm done. I'm out for the night. As the sun paints the pavements, I'll turn out the light. White noise on the radio to quiet my mind. I always was an overthinker, just the way I'm designed. Britain, Drink it down and moan about the weather. When it's all said and done, we'll be in it all together. Boys, we'll be like you forever. It's a bittersweet symphony with birds of a feather.
That slide sound is so cool.
'Cause it's a bittersweet symphony that's life. Trying to make ends meet. You're a slave to money, then you die.
So effortless and how he sings like that. Almost like he's like not even really singing, because doesn't sound like it sounds breathy, but it doesn't sound like a lot of velocity to the breath, if that makes sense. Yeah, man, like I said, I really enjoy songs that have strings in it, but even when they're live, even more so. Again, look, a very simple video, a very simplistic video in terms of visuals and stuff. It's not like, you know, Money Game Part 4 or whatever, where everything's like one shot basically, and everything is intertwining and they have to worry about every little inch of the room, right? This was simply just, we got Ren kind of walking in this circle with the string players, but we have stuff going on that's really cool. I honestly think, right, I think weather evokes a mood. I mean, they're lucky because I don't know if this was shot in Canada or the UK. I'm assuming the UK, but in the UK it rains more often than not. I feel like that the tone of that song with the strings and stuff gives kind of like a somber feeling. The clouds, the cloudiness, the overcast. That's what I interpret with that kind of feeling. So it kind of like all goes together really well. But I do want to look up the lyrics real fast. Let's see if he posted it in the video. Oh, here's the lyric. Good. Okay. Dirt on my Reeboks from staying out all night. I spent my last pounds on this pack of Marlboro Lights. I mean, we all got addictions, brother. It might not be like necessarily stuff you put in your body, but we all got them. You know, I just spent a little bit of money on some stuff for modding my video game consoles, because that's an obsession right now. I'm trying to collect. But I phoned up Stevie. I said, gee, you all right? He said, it's 6 in the morning, brother. Get some shut-eye. If you listen to well-being this time in the morning, wear my heart on my hoodie while the city is snoring. So instead of wear my heart on my sleeve, right, wear my heart on my hoodie. Yeah, before I had kids and got married, I was one of those people who would be up all hours of the night. Sometimes I am with insomnia, but like 5 or 6 was my bedtime, and I'd wake up at 12 or 1. That was my bread and butter. I was a night owl. I've always been a night owl. I hate the mornings. But I also feel like that feeling of kind of like you're out in the evening, it's kind of brisk and cold, you got this sweatshirt on. There's not really a lot of other life going on except for nature. It's really like sobering and freeing, to be honest, to kind of be out there and not have to worry about anything else and be in that dark. That's how I look at it anyways. Drunks failing off the sidewalk get issued a warning. Distant sirens, they crescendo like a symphony calling. This is Britain I know, this is Britain I love. The poetry inside the city if you listen enough. Kind of looking at the good even in the bad, right? Sirens, usually not really a good thing, right? But it's the sounds of his city. It's the sounds of where he grew up. It's the sounds of the city he loves. So it's kind of comforting in that way. Working class casualties out on the street sleep rough while a mother with her baby takes her pram to the pub. And while she's knocking them down, the cost of living goes up. I can relate to politicians with the head in the mud. Yeah, man. I feel like a lot of us have that a little bit where, I mean, I just mentioned it, where, you know, we could take all of our free time and put that into like doing something productive, making extra money on the side, doing whatever. But we don't, you know, we kind of let our vices take control and we let that kind of run us a little bit. But it's also because it's an escape from the monotonous life or the monotonous job that we have, what have you, to make those ends meet, to be able to do that stuff, right? So it's kind of like this vicious cycle thing where, yes, we could definitely use that extra free time to even make a little more money and be a little bit more well off, so then in the future we can do more of that fun stuff. But it's also an escape from doing that, which is, yeah, it's something that I struggle with often, actually. We do our bit to numb the struggle, as below, so above. I still think he says sober above. We do our bit to numb the struggle, as below, so above. And as above, so below, here in the city we glow. I blow a smoke ring up to heaven and it makes a halo. And then the clock strikes 7, guess it's time to head home. The companion is the city. Let's see, I'm going to read through this really quickly. Stepping in and out of gaps of the pavement cracks. Do we ever get over that? Like as kids, my kids do that now where it's like, don't step on the lines, right? Or don't step on the cracks. Do we ever get over that? Because I feel like I catch myself when I'm walking by myself doing that too. Bear with me, it's beautiful. I think it's irrefutable. There's beauty in contradicting Britain indisputable. Junkie in a cubicle, that old spoon is usable. His mother's in a black suit crying at a funeral. I like this. Junkie in a cubicle, that old spoon is usable. I think it's literal. Like a lot of junkies do work in cubicles. Anybody can be an addict, right? But also like, I feel like workaholics is a thing. Being a workaholic is a thing. Being addicted to your work, being so ingrained in your work that you forget everything else that's kind of around you, and you're literally killing yourself, working yourself to the bone for what? I don't need to tell you guys how much this particular part hits home for me right now, but it does. His mother's in a black suit crying at a funeral, right? 9 to 5 crucible. This route is not commutable. A kid falls off the tracks and then he serves a stretch in juvenile. Okay, yeah, the rest is pretty straightforward. Yeah, man, this is one of those where it's kind of in between of like being very, very much so like lyrically sound, but it's not so like artistic and so crazy flow wise that it's like hard to ascertain what's going on. But I like these live renditions, man. I think Rhett brings a lot of like different energy to these, meaning from his original, but also like each one is different in its own right. I mean, they're different songs, but I feel like each video is different. He's doing something different. He's in a different setting, right? I really like it. I'm excited for more new Ren, and I'm talking like actually new Ren. I've kind of stopped doing some Ren for a little bit to focus on other artists, and also got really busy doing other things. But I want to stay with Ren. I'm gonna probably try and go back to doing one every 2 weeks, just because I miss doing some Ren stuff. There's still a lot I haven't heard from him still, because there's so much out there. But yeah, I love this. I love this. I like these live renditions because of the rawness of it, because of just, it's very simple. You know, it's usually him and an instrument. In this case, it was him and a few, but sounded amazing, man. Sounded amazing. His voice always captivates you, and he saved it to the very end, right? Love it. I appreciate the love and support you guys have been showing. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell on my channel and on Ren's channel as well. But I know you guys have already done that. Always make sure you support the artists on this channel. Appreciate the love and support. And please do remember that good vibes are contagious.